Hi, this is Taos Talks Astrology. I'm Kenny Astro Dude, and I'm here with Ann. And boy, there's a lot going on and a lot I want to talk about astrologically. My God, I had mentioned in one of our last sessions that there is this intense stress angle. It's a square from the planet Saturn and Uranus to each other. Now, this has the world in a blender, as I said. Uranus is the only planet that wobbles. It has an erratic energy. It's been dubbed the planet of chaos and upheaval. And Uranus has been in Taurus, and Taurus is all about the structure of society. It hadn't been there for 84 years, but arrived into the sign of Taurus the last couple of years. Well, what's been especially pivotal and intense this year is that Uranus, this revolutionary influence, has been in stress square to Saturn, and Saturn is the taskmaster, which is all about what is also going on structurally in society. And Saturn moved into Aquarius with Jupiter back in January of this year, 2021, and that's been just so intense. Aquarius is the sign that's ruled or influenced by Uranus, and that Aquarius is the sign of revolution, upheaval, and on a collective level. And I've mentioned in one of our past sessions about how Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and transformation, is exactly where it was during the American Revolution. This is a time in which everything is in the blender. But Saturn in square, stress to Uranus, is very intense because it means everything is tenuous, everything is feeling very anxious now. The world is divided. We are struggling and fighting for our basic freedoms and rights. And that this is going to continue with intensity, especially as we get to November 2nd, because now in the autumn, as we enter Scorpio time on the 23rd of this month, October, and things really start to hit the fan big time. Because as we move to the 2nd, particularly of November, the sun's position, as it is every year, will be in Scorpio about around 9 to 10 degrees. Well, this is in square stress to Saturn and is in square stress to, in Aquarius, and stress square, an opposition rather, to Uranus in Taurus. So in other words, there is an opposition from Uranus to the Sun, and both the Sun and Uranus in square intention to Saturn. Well, this just accelerates this period of revolution, uncertainty, and I think things are going to hit the fan. But that, though this is intense, and it has been all year, we've been experiencing this configuration from Uranus ripping apart the Saturn structure of things all year. But next year, as we get into late January, February, that's going to be especially intense, as then there will be an exact 90-degree stress angle from Saturn and Uranus to each other. So, in other words, this is the acceleration of the breakdown of things. And so rest assured, there will be peace hereafter. But this is still the breaking apart period. This is still the unraveling period. So we are moving into the Aquarian age, and I'm sure everyone has heard about this. It's an age that takes 2,100 years in duration, and this is a whole new wave of consciousness that the planet is going to experience. We were shifting dramatically into a whole new paradigm of consciousness. And the Aquarian age can be two things. As every age or time in human history can be two things, it depends on humanity. We can either be defiant and stand up for our individuality, which is the high context of Aquarius, is honoring one's individuality within the collective whole, or we can be compliant and be sheep and just go along with the inevitable New World Order and control of our lives. This is an absolute goal of many individuals in power in the world. And so we can become a global New World society of slavery, or we can be, as I say, defiant, not compliant, and honor our individuality. But yes, within a peaceful collective whole. We are one people, and we are all together on this planet. We should learn how to get along, but not to just meld into an identityless existence. So we have a choice. We can be controlled, or we can really stand up for our freedoms. And it doesn't matter what side of the political fence you're on. We're all being absolutely threatened now by oppressive laws and rules which really very much work against the totality of our human right for freedom.
So, Ken, what you're saying, unless you're living in a cave without a computer, you don't see the chaos. The chaos is here. And my question is, what you said, like next year, we're going to continue in this chaos, but when does it start to get better? A lot of people are out there now. There are a lot of people that aren't going to take what they're trying to push on us, what these few people are trying to lock us down and push on us, that we are under their control. There are many more of us than there are of them. So when do we start seeing some progress in this? We are seeing a little bit now where people are pushing back on their school boards. They're pushing back on the mayors. They're pushing back on all these people who want to control us. When do we start seeing a big advance? When do we start seeing arrests?
So basically, next year in its entirety is going to be very chaotic. The difference is, to answer your question, is that the more and more we as a people collectively, globally, have enough of constriction, regulation, and control, then the quicker we will come into a place of unity. But it takes humanity as a whole to stand up, to fight for their freedom. And that's happening. There's protest everywhere. The world is outraged and are beginning to stand up. So it'll continue to be a year of chaos because it is truly a war of light and dark now. And so, to answer your question, it will be a continued year throughout next year. And though it gets very intense in January, February, as I said, but throughout basically next year, we're in a period in which there will be continued upheaval and chaos. The difference is the more of humanity that stand together, the more power we take back as a people.
What I'm understanding that you're saying is that there will be chaos, but as long as we continue to protest and be out there and say what we want and start taking control back to the people, that the chaos will be more for our benefit, that we will be taking back control of our world, of our countries, that we won't be under the thumbs of these elite, tyrannical people that think they can tell us how to live, that treat us as nothing. That is how they think of us, and this is how they treat us, and we are seeing it. It's speeded up in real time. We can see what their plan is for us. So what months next year do you see that we will really be seeing things happening, that we will really be seeing that we do have the control and that they are on the run, because they won't back down. They don't have a choice. There aren't very many of them compared to us. As long as we stay together, we have them defeated. But they will fight until the very end because they have no choice. What is their choice? So what months do you see this start becoming particularly favorable? I know there's supposed to be an information blackout because this is an information war, and they know that things are going to come out that are not going to be looking good for them. But what do you see astrologically? When do you see this occurring?
So I just want to say at this point, before I answer your question about next year, that yes, there really is an elite that really do believe in a new world order. This isn't just some made-up conspiracy. That all you have to do is read the United Nations Agenda 21, United Nations Agenda 30, and to look at and read the Patriot Act. These are all documents which are all about creating a global society and in destroying our nationalism and in destroying our individuality. This is not just some made-up thing. So this is real, And I'm making this point because it is also part of this intense period of global transformation as we're moving into the Aquarian age. And as I said, we can be a global society that works together whilst maintaining our individuality as nations. We're allowed to have our sovereign identity and still work together as a global society. And no, we don't need to have wars. Those are made up by the munition elitists who are making trillions of dollars. We've just barely got out of a 21-year war, which ended disastrously, as we all know. So, yes, everything is right on the edge of transition and change. And to answer your question, that as we get into spring, summer next year, I think it's going to be a very different planetary portrait. We're going to be in a very different place because humanity is standing up like never before. But we needed to be just shaken out of our numb, lazy, fat American complacency. We needed to be pissed off and to have our basic freedoms challenged, I guess, before we as a people would stand up. So whatever it takes. But we've got another year of major transition and changes coming soon to a theater near us. All right. Well, many blessings. And so this is Kenny Astrodude and Ann signing off for now. Happy autumn.